What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back for part two, y'all, of our interview here with the NC State women's basketball legend, Elissa Cunane. If you haven't checked out part one yet, make sure to go and do that first and foremost. As we talked about her time in the Czech Republic playing basketball, thoughts on WNBA, thoughts on Westmore. Again, it was a great conversation. Make sure to go check that out first and then come right back here. But Lisa, obviously you'd spent a lot of time and played a lot of games at NC State. Um, is there a game that stands out to you that when you think about your time wearing the red and white that stands out to you above the rest, or would you say there's more of kind of a couple that stand out above the rest?
Uh, I mean, I would say there's definitely a handful. Like, how could you not acknowledge the ACC championship games, right?
Amen.
Uh, I think
Great picks.
another game that I do remember, I was actually thinking about it the other day, was when we played against Louisville, maybe my
Okay.
junior year at their
Be
place.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah,
And I
and
feel
I
like
was, yeah,
being South Carolina, South Carolina, that's got to be one too.
yeah, for sure. I was looking at graphics, watching college basketball the other day, and it was like South Carolina has this like 40 or like
Yeah,
60 game winning streak, like except for this one loss. And I was like,
yeah.
that's us. That's us. Yeah, that one
Guilty as
stands out for
charged.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. No. And yeah. I mean, I think. AC championships is huge for sure. And I think that one thing which I want to kind of ask you about is with the emergence of Virginia Tech, being now a multi-year top 10 program, competed for a Final Four last year. And then Duke has gotten really good recently. Would you say that the competition level in the ACC has improved since you left NC State?
I would say yeah. I think that like every year though, it's improving. Especially like
Hmm.
all these freshman stars that you have coming in now for different programs. I think maybe like before my time, you always had like the Notre Dame and then Louisville on top, like
Yep.
no matter what. Even as a kid, like
Right.
it's always one of those two. And then you had us
Yeah.
come in there. Like you had NC State kind of break up the game a little bit. Then you have Virginia Tech last year. So I think it's definitely
Hmm.
getting a little bit more spread out and like every single team has a fighting chance.
Yeah. I mean, Duke just signed, I think it was like at the number 5 or number 6 overall recruiting class in the whole country. So, I mean, there's no doubt that, I mean, just in the triangle, I mean, it's picking
Yeah.
up, which is awesome. So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
I watched them
uh,
play the Olympic team, the USA team the other day, and like they looked great
yeah,
against these professional players. So I
yeah.
definitely agree. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah, definitely seeing Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi play against these 18 to 20 21-year-old girls. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, it was a half decent game for a while, and of course,
Yeah.
eventually the USA took over. But I mean, to be expected. I mean, it's not necessarily a shocker. So, but yeah, and so obviously one of the things which want to kind of talk about as well is you know one game which we haven't even mentioned is obviously the Elite Eight win over Notre Dame, which I think in my eyes was really a glass ceiling breaker.
Hmm.
Just to finally get to
Sweet
NC State's
16, I
first Elite
think.
Eight. Sorry,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
won Sweet 16 to get to the Elite Eight. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you're
Thanks for
good. You're
correcting me
good.
there. Yeah. And I feel like the Reina Perez steal, everybody talks about, put it in the Louvre. Like, I feel like that play with Reina Perez getting that steal, like that's one of the all time great NC State moments of all time, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
like, kind of talk like tell me from your perspective where you were on the court, like seeing Reina get that steal, like what was going through your head in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was at like the top of the key or like the elbow or something like that, and I just like
Yeah,
see her dribbling the ball, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what are we gonna do? Like there's what 10 seconds left or whatever. Like, are we
right.
gonna foul? Like I was like, oh my gosh, like I never had the feeling that we were gonna lose the game, so I was like we can't lose, like I don't have the losing feeling, and then I just see like a poke, and I'm like, is she fouling? And then I see
Hmm.
like steals the ball and goes for the layup and like just staring. Like I couldn't run further enough to catch up like to the layup that fast, and so I just saw her shooting it. I was like,
Yep.
please make it, and then
Yep.
she made it,
Yep.
and the rest was history.
Yeah, no, and yeah, the rest was history indeed for sure. So, and the one question I have here from Cam, one of our followers on our Discord channel, I wanted to ask you. So what would you say your favorite memory of playing French State is? We talked about some of the all time games, obviously winning ACC championships, things like that. But do you have a favorite memory from your time at NC State playing NC State?
Honestly, my favorite memory would probably be my senior year ACC championship. And
Hmm.
like my favorite memory like is just standing on the podium like with the team at that time. I remember like spotting my
Mm,
parents in the stands and like just soaking it in. Like senior year you win like your conference championship. I just remember like that was so emotional for me. And that was probably one of
mm,
my like memories I think about all the time still from NC State.
mm. That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know especially for me. I've had season the AC tournament tickets for the whole tournament for I think like 5 years now. So I've been at a couple of those ACC championship games, and I mean I still remember it, like we've already talked about Raina one time, but I think also too her shot to beat, I think it was Louisville in the ACC
Louisville.
championship.
Yeah.
Yep. Like that's also to another huge moment. So I'm sitting here saying, like, man, like Reina, maybe state fans don't talk about Reina enough. In terms, I mean, those are two humongous plays that I mean, obviously have humongous impacts on, you know, a championship and an Elite Eight appearance. Not saying that it was all because of that, but I mean, that was a huge shot and a huge play at a big time. But um, you know, I want to kind of ask a little bit, is it obviously, that your senior year, um, you beat Notre Dame, and well, actually going into the Sweet 16, that you get the draw of having to go to Bridgeport, Connecticut. I know that we're going to talk about the UConn game, here on Sunday, and obviously a lot of state fans like there was that one sign that held up that from I think it was a band member saying welcome to our quote unquote neutral site, and I to me that was the greatest sign I've
Yeah,
seen
I
in a long
love
time,
that.
like just absolutely hilarious. So I mean, uh, like do you ever kind of think about that in terms of okay, if we had gotten a fair shake and actually played at a neutral site, it would have made a difference. Like, do you ever think about that? In terms of maybe like a not kind of a woulda, shoulda, coulda kind of deal, if that makes sense. Like if things would have been different.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like think about it. Do I think that's the reason why we like lost the game? Like,
Mm,
definitely
yeah,
not. I mean, there's always that what if
yeah,
factor, but I don't look back on it with any like, dang, this could have
mm,
happened. I think it's more like straight basketball
yeah,
related, Like, if we would have made adjustments or something like that, then we could have gone
mm,
further. But I mean, it is
yeah.
what it is. Like, the NCAA wanted to do that to us. They did it to us. We just had to accept it. Like, we couldn't just pout the whole time and be like, yeah, like we lost because of this placement. Like, at the end of the day,
Well,
it's
because I'm
basketball.
still still sitting here saying to this day, because everybody like the NCAA was saying, well, it just worked out seating wise that UConn ended up at playing in the Bridgeport slot, which is like, well, again, at the time Baylor was red hot, so you could have easily switched UConn and Baylor, and nobody would have even batted an eyelash, and then we would have ended up playing Baylor in the Elite Eight instead of UConn. Like I don't know, I just feel like that in that time there should have been a sense of kind of common sense where it's like, okay, well, we could just switch these teams, and that way it's truly a fair neutral site game for everybody. And I don't think Baylor or UConn would have been like, we should, like, I don't think Baylor should have said we should have been the 5 seed, I think that okay, 5 and 6, whatever, game on. But
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously, and I'm sure with NCAA, common sense is not it's not a common.
Some funny
Yeah,
business going
yeah,
on
agreed,
there.
agreed, agreed. But let's talk about this huge game though on Sunday though. 92-81 win over UConn. Paige Beckers led, Gina Oriema, like, all the stars were there for UConn. I remember even the on Saturday night, they had Holly Rowe and somebody famously clipped where they were talking about the games on Sunday, and they talked about, is UConn an upset alert going to Reynolds Coliseum? And she kind of laughed it off, was like, no, I think UConn's fine. Like, Paige Becker's back, like they'll be fine. And then, I mean, watching the game, because I wasn't able to be there in person, but watching the game back, like one of the biggest things I said, which stood out to me, was it looked like the team grew a lot. It's like the first quarter, it was all UConn. UConn was controlling that first quarter, but then it really seemed like, and this is kind of what Wes Moore really showed his stuff. But it looked like some adjustments were made. We settled in, and we really took over the game starting in the second quarter, and then we never really looked back. And I mean, you you would have never
Mm-hmm.
thought that. I mean, like that you would have never thought that this was number two versus unranked. Like it really looked like two teams that were equal, which is crazy because UConn has Paige Beckers, who was a freshman, freshman of the year 2 years ago, and so I mean, like,
Yeah.
were you able to watch the whole game first and foremost? Because look,
Yeah, I was able
okay,
to watch the whole
because
game.
it looked like you were traveling or something like that. It looked like you were watching like on a little screen or something like that. Am I correct from your Instagram?
Yeah, so the only way to watch it overseas is like with a VPN, and so I can only get the VPN on my
Gotcha.
iPad. So I was just watching it on my iPad at 9 o'clock at night here.
I love it.
I remember like my grandparents were at the game and they called me afterwards, and it's like midnight already for me, and they're calling me like, like, did you see the game? I was like, yeah. I was like, so happy you guys could be there. Like, I'm going to bed. Like, I love you guys. I'm
Yeah.
headed out. But yeah, I for sure was able to watch it. I think honestly, what impressed me the most was the composure
Mm,
of the team. Defensively, offensively, the whole game, like they never got rattled. Going into halftime, they weren't rattled. At the end of the game, when they started to put full court pressure on, they were just so composed. They were hitting big shots, taking care of the ball. It was just beautiful
so what you're
basketball.
saying is we're winning a national championship this year. Is that what I'm getting at?
I look, the media loves the hype
Yeah.
up, like all these individual players, all these big name teams. But at the end of the day, it's
Amen.
basketball, and it's whoever's going to play the best basketball. And NC State showed that we're right there. I
Hmm.
mean, we've been showing it, and maybe because we're not the biggest name and we haven't been the biggest name for like 20, 30
Yeah.
years. But I think NC State is always going to be there. Like, we're always going to be an
Well,
elite program.
and I think that honestly, one of the things that, in my opinion, like people talk about Reynolds Coliseum and the impact it makes, but I still don't think Reynolds Coliseum, in terms of the environment it is, gets enough credit in terms. I mean, you tell me, you've played in a lot of different stadiums, arenas, but I think that impact wise, there's not a tougher place to play at in the whole country for women's college basketball than Reynolds Coliseum, in my opinion.
Yeah, no way. There's no gym I've ever been in that has the same feel like Reynolds does. Like, even for the home team, obviously, like being a visitor in
Yeah,
other arenas, there's no other arena that's there for their home team and that has the same energy as
I love
Reynolds
it.
does.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And kind of talking
Yeah.
to, if I were to ask somebody who's never watched or doesn't keep up with women's college basketball, and I showed them the UConn game, and I said one of these players was freshman of the year back in 2021. I think most of them have said, "Oh, Sanaya Rivers, right?" I mean, like that girl's. 33
Yeah.
points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Like that's her, right? Nope. Said nope. It's actually Paige Beckers, and which Paige Beckers had a great game, but Sanaya Rivers was by far the best player on the court, in my opinion. Like, just did it all. Made really tough shots, got to the basket, got to the free throw line, made her free throws. Had a couple blocks even as well. Like, she did it all. So kind of tell me your thoughts with Sanaya. At least in my eyes, super impressive player.
Yeah, I mean, I remember her saying in the interview after the game that she wanted to be her breakout
Hmm.
game, and I think she
Yeah.
definitely did that. She was everywhere. She was getting steals. She was attacking the basket so
Hmm.
easily. Like, they just couldn't stop her. And I mean, her passes, like, I think she had a couple of assists as well. Her block that on Edwards
Hmm.
at one point, it was just amazing. Like, she was just everywhere on the
Yep.
court.
Agreed. Kind of talking a little bit since you come from the center side, I do want to kind of ask your thoughts a little bit on River Baldwin and Mimi Collins. I would say their games are very different from yours. But I mean, like, kind of give me your thoughts in terms of what you saw from those two. The two players handling it down low.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both were impactful. I know Mimi had that one like turnaround jump shot towards the
Huge.
end of the game that was
Yes.
beautiful. River had those two charges, which she's notorious for. That was huge to get fouls on them and
Yes.
turnovers. Um, I think for a center, sometimes it's hard because like you have to get past the
Yeah.
ball. Like you can rebound by yourself, but for the most part, the guards create an
Mm-hmm.
offense for you. And when the guards are going off and scoring by themselves, you can kind of feel like left
Yeah.
out of the game. But I think they did such a great job doing what they needed to do. And that allowed the guards to go off, allowed Sanaya to go off, and like they were there for her. I
Mm-hmm.
think you don't have to be the biggest scorer to be impactful on a game. And I think they both
Like,
did that.
100%. And again, it just goes back to, like, again, just everybody had their role, and they seemed completely bought into it, which was great.
Hmm.
And you really saw that. And so I mean, for me, I'm sitting here saying, I mean, like, we kind of talked a little bit about in terms of, instead not necessarily having the biggest name per se, but I mean, I'm sure you've seen about how NC State jumped from unranked to number 14 in the country, which, I mean, we like, basically the only game that really, like, is we beat Charlotte, but I mean, I don't think that really made much of a difference in terms of jumping
Hmm.
number 14. So obviously it really came down just to beating UConn. So I mean, I haven't, again, I don't necessarily like kind of keep track, but I haven't seen somebody jump from unranked to number 14 in the country like that. Like, that's a huge jump. So I mean, do you think that maybe that is showing that maybe the NC State name does have some lead to it, that we did jump that much?
Yeah, perhaps so. I mean, I think those rankings are sometimes
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But I think they were probably like, dang, like they probably should have been ranked maybe like if you want to put them in the 20s or like high teens or whatever. So they're like, they should have already been
Mhm.
there. So let's just go ahead and bump them as if they were from there. And that's what made the
Agreed.
huge jump.
And I do, kind of wrapping up too. I know that, talking about, this team this year, backcourt wise, Isaiah James, who really, started to kind of flourish last year. And then you also have the true freshman, Zoe Brooks, who, again, playing against,
Hmm.
a player who's on a list of being potentially the best point guard in the country. I think Zoe Brooks really held her own. So, I mean, at least in my opinion, I want to kind of get your thoughts, but I mean, I think between Isaiah James, Zoe Brooks, and Sanaya Rivers, that could be one of the best, backcourts in the country, in my opinion. I mean, each one of them are very different. They each bring their own, skill sets, and they really work well together. Like that. That's one of the things that really excites me. Being that the point guard is, more looked at as the quarterback, and I think that between those three, you feel pretty good about what you're going to have at those positions this season.
Yeah, I agree. I was really impressed with the way Zoe played and the way she was not only doing what she needed to do, but she was also attacking the basket.
Hmm.
She was like putting up shots in the paint, like with Paige guarding her and like all these different things. So for her to show out in a game like that already with so much confidence and composure, you're definitely looking at a
Hmm.
great three. And I think Azaya, like, I think she's always been like
Hmm.
that. She's always been a shooter and attacker. She plays with this sort of finesse and like coolness. Like she plays with swag, I feel like. And I think she hasn't really been able to show that and to really feel herself and have that confidence. But you can really see it last year and this year, the confidence between her, the rest of the teammates, and coach. And they've just been
And
on
I
fire.
don't know what your first few games looked like at NC State, but uh, I couldn't imagine your second game ever, in college playing against UConn. Like, that's another thing I have to really kind of give Zoe a lot of props for. Is, I mean, she looked completely up to the challenge and looked completely confident, not really even swayed by the fact that, like, saying, I'm going against, again, arguably one of the best point guards in the whole country. I'm going against UConn, and didn't even look phased by it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any like nervous like turnovers or nervous like travels or anything like
Yeah.
small like that to even see that she was nervous. Like she looked like
I
a
love it.
vet out there.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah, thank you for that. And before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So, I want to kind of transition more to kind of talking about you a little bit, and because we have a couple of questions here submitted by fans that I want to kind of get to some this or that questions, which if you're a longtime follower of Tuffy Talk, I've asked these questions before to former players. So 2 questions here submitted by fans. So first question by Amanda B. What was your favorite spot on campus?
My favorite spot on
Mm-hmm.
campus.
On campus, yeah.
Let's see. I mean, like off campus,
Yeah,
downtown Raleigh for sure.
yeah.
Let's see. On campus, honestly, I would have to say the top of the parking
Really?
deck from our apartments. Yeah, for sure. I would go up there all the time. I remember like it snowed one night and I went
Uh,
up there and like you could see the view from like the Tri Towers area, like down Dan Allen Street. And it was just so cool, like to watch the sunsets up there.
uh.
Um, and just to like see campus, like stalk people as they're going to class. It's a little abnormal, but it was so cool to me to like just to be up there and have like the bird's eye
I
view
like
of
it. A little
campus.
different answer. I wasn't expecting that, which is awesome. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then what's your go-to cookout order?
Oh, go-to cookout order is always two
Okay.
corn dogs, Cajun fries, chocolate
Oh
milkshake.
man, see, I
It
love
never
it.
fails. It
Like
never
I
fails.
got to give you props, Lisa. Like there's been a few times like between like the one word to answer, to like where you're like I've got it, and like with both these questions, you're like yeah, no, I got it. Here it is. Here's the answer, and yeah.
You're like triggering memories like deep inside my brain.
Well, I'm hoping that's a good thing.
Like I haven't eaten at cookout since college.
Okay.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
for
Good.
sure,
Good.
for
Good.
sure.
Good. Good. All right. Good to hear. All righty. So now, kind of moving on to some this or that questions. First and foremost, so this is basically like a choose between. Beach or mountains?
Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna say
Okay.
beach.
Winter?
It hurts my
Really?
heart.
Are you kind of split
All
between
right.
that?
I'm pretty split. Yeah, the beach is like relaxing, warm weather.
Okay.
Can't
All
go
right.
wrong.
Winter or summer? Okay. Cats
Summer,
or dogs?
dogs,
Okay. I like
100%.
it. Yeah. Favorite fast food?
Chick-fil-A?
Mm, okay. Those.
I would say, all right, let me say Chick-fil-A for North
Okay.
Carolina, but wherever there's a Cane's, I'm choosing
Well. Okay.
Cane's.
Now hold on here. All right, Lisa. So we got a problem here. As recently, I don't know if you've heard this, but on Franklin Street in UNC, they opened a Raising Cane's. So are you going to?
I have
So
seen
so are
that,
you? Are
yeah.
you? Okay.
Absolutely
All right.
not.
I was about to ask. I was like,
I'm going to I'm going to Texas before I'm
let's
going to
go.
Franklin Street.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about right there. All right. Good. All right. Pancakes or waffles? Okay. Go
Pancakes.
out or stay in?
It's so hard.
Mhm. Okay.
Stay in.
Instagram or Twitter? Mm.
Instagram.
Man, I love it. The fact that she's like, I'm
The new
yeah,
Twitter. No, these are tough. The new Twitter though,
yeah,
no way.
yeah. All right.
It's gotten a
Yeah.
little bit messy.
All right. So NC State wise, all black uniform or all red uniform?
Ooh,
Mm.
all black, always. All black always looks so good. And our black uniforms had glow in the dark numbers on them.
Yeah.
Unbeatable.
Oh, that's what's up. All right. Game winning shot or game winning stop?
Ooh,
Shot.
shot.
Okay. Amedios or players retreat? Mhm.
Immedios, no
Mm.
question.
Yeah. What's your go-to at Medios?
The
Yes.
lasagna,
Oh, they have such good lasagna.
pretty
Yes, agreed.
unbeatable.
Favorite Howling Cow flavor?
Oh, I forget the names, but they had like a coffee
Mm.
one. I don't know what the name of it was, but then also the
I was
Wolf
about to
Tracks
say
one.
Wolf
Wolf Tracks,
Track
I
for me
think.
is undefeated. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, Wolf Track is undefeated.
yeah. See, what you have to do, you have to get the coffee and the Wolf
Ooh.
Tracks in a waffle
Oh.
cone. Unbeatable. I just have the best. I have the best
The combos though, I
recommendations.
love it. Alrighty. All
Yeah, it's
right.
the combo.
Here's one that I'm interested to see how quick you answer this one. All right. Beating UNC or beating Louisville? Wow.
UNC.
Okay. See, you answered that one a little bit faster than I thought you might. I thought you might hang up a little bit, but all right. All right. Swishing a three or breaking a defender's ankles?
Oh, I would say a three. I don't think I've ever broken someone's ankles in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not a dribbler. Don't give me the ball outside the 3-point line if I'm not shooting it.
All right. All right. And then LeBron or MJ?
Ooh, I think that's a tough one. I'm gonna say
Okay.
MJ, just because I remember watching the Last Dance documentary and he was just like elite,
Agreed.
elite.
Agreed. 100%. All right, Lisa. Well, first of all, I appreciate it. This was an absolutely phenomenal time. I know I really enjoyed it. I'm sure there's no doubt that our listeners and viewers have enjoyed this as well. So thank you so much for coming on. Again, we're at least for myself, but I know I can speak for all in-state fans, especially our Tuffy Talk crew, saying huge followers and supporters of yours, and definitely it would be humongous to see you back in the WNBA again. But you know, at least for the most part, just coming back to Raleigh, would be awesome to get you back here in Raleigh once again. Maybe at a game or two, whenever time does allow it. But again, just wish all the best, and just stay safe and continue to ball out.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. My games overseas are streamed too, though. So if you want to watch overseas, you can watch overseas as
What are
well.
what's the best way to do that? Is there a specific website or
Uh, yeah, you can go to my team's website. Just type in the team, click on it, and there's a link
okay,
for like the Czech
okay.
basketball. Yeah, or Euro Cup. When we play Euro Cup, it's FIBA Euro Cup into YouTube.
Okay. All right.
Can't miss
Yeah.
it.
So what I'll do is I'll add into the description as well, along with all of Lisa's social media links. I'll also add in as well the link to her team's website. So to make sure to go if anybody wants to check out any of her games, make sure to do it. But again, and then for our end, y'all make sure again if you haven't already, y'all make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that free notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. Make sure you give this a video like if you enjoyed this conversation, and also make sure to give us a follow as well as Elissa on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, y'all.